Welcome back to another TOC Hunting and Outdoors TOC 2-Minute Tuesday. This week we're going to be focusing in on turkey tips. As the warm weather set in, I'm sure just like myself, most of you have been out there searching those fields, keeping an eye on those local birds. But that brings me to a point of I'm a little concerned for this year because of how warm the weather has been, especially here locally, that these birds have already kind of set into a flock stage, and they're going to be a little bit harder to hunt this year. So let's talk about the tips I have for you this season. So birds come wintertime tend to flock together into larger groups, as many as 60. But come springtime, they get into a bit of a breeding pattern, they start challenging each other, and those flocks kind of disperse out into smaller flocks. But what I've noticed already is this flock here, we've got a tom, a few jakes, and quite a few hens. But then in the field next to us, we've got this single tom with a hen not too far away. So that kind of says to me that we're already in that fighting mode, they're already breaking up. And that brings a concern, and a tip to you guys is that maybe we shouldn't be going straight up to having tom decoys. We should be sticking to a hen decoy and try and call those hens into us, and hopefully the toms will come towards us versus trying to have them fight. And the reason I say that is because they're probably going to be very hesitant to do that, already been in that mode for quite some time. Here's my hen decoy. Spent quite a bit of money on it, suggest you do the same. Put it out when you're setting up, it's great. Another decoying tip I would suggest is maybe not putting out any decoys at all. In this situation, I had a jake and a hen put out, and these jakes came in, and they were very hesitant. And this next scenario as well is another example of having turkey decoys out, and these particular birds, they've probably been in a few fights, possibly shot at. We're not really sure, but all I do know is that that tent in this situation, at this particular spot, it was set up for quite some time, like well over a month. And yet these birds were very hesitant to come in, and the only thing that had changed is these decoys were present. And as you can see, they're just kind of scooting off to the side and don't want to actually come in. So I'd mentioned not putting out any decoys at all. I know it sounds a little absurd, but hear me out. When you put out a decoy and call, they then see and have a visual reference. When you don't put one out and you call, they don't have a visual reference, playing a mind game, having them come in closer like these two. As long as you stay concealed and in like somewhat natural surroundings, you'll be totally fine. So let's talk a little bit about the calling and how I go about getting those birds to come in a little closer. Listen to these hens real close and I'll explain the dominance in a minute. So as you can hear, there's a very dominant hen in the tree. She keeps cutting off all the other hens, and when she starts to call, the toms gobble. I'm going to show you how to do that with this slate call and the striker, as you can see here. Make sure that you sand both the striker and the slate before beginning. Cup the slate in your left or right hand, take the striker in the other, like a pen, and firmly press it against the slate. This is a cluck. Firmly press and pull down in a quick, solid motion. This is the yelp, where you make a semicircular or a J shape to create the sound. So this is where we put it all together to assert our dominance, like we heard in the trees. We put a little bit of a cluck in with the yelp and increase the cadence to show dominance. I only ever use this when a hen isn't really responding and I need to show dominance over top of her by cutting her off. These techniques have worked out really well for me in the past, and I hope that they work for you. Don't forget to drop a comment down below letting me know what you think of this video and if these tips helped you for your turkey season this year. Also hit the like, subscribe, share, and the notification button for more.